I used to think silence was strength. If you never said what you felt, you could never be rejected. If you never admitted love, you could never lose it. That's what I told myself the night I met her. Her name was Alina. We met at a mutual friend's engagement party, loud music, golden lights, laughter floating in the air. I wasn't in the mood for celebrations, but life has strange timing. She stood near the balcony, away from the crowd, staring at the city lights below. "You don't look like someone who enjoys noise," I said, stepping beside her. She smiled slightly. "And you don't look like someone who belongs inside." That was the beginning. We started meeting after that, coffee shops, bookstores, long evening walks where conversations stretched longer than the roads. She wasn't loud. She wasn't dramatic. She was steady, calm, the kind of presence that makes chaos feel smaller. But I never said what I felt. Not when she laughed at my bad jokes. Not when she called me at midnight because she just needed to talk. Not even when she fell asleep on my shoulder during a late movie night. I was afraid. Afraid that naming what I felt would change everything. Afraid that love, once spoken, would demand something in return. Then came the night everything shifted. It was raining heavily. Thunder echoed across the sky. The kind of storm that makes the world feel fragile. My phone rang. It was her. Her voice was different. Soft, shaken. "Can you come?" she asked. I didn't ask questions. I just went. When I reached her apartment, she opened the door with red eyes and trembling hands. "My father," she whispered. "He wants me to get engaged." The word felt like glass in my chest. "To someone you love?" I asked, though I already knew the answer. She looked at me in silence, and that silence was louder than the thunder outside. "I don't know what I feel anymore," she said. "I'm tired of waiting for something that may never happen." My heart raced. "What are you waiting for?" I asked quietly. She looked at me for a long moment. "For someone to tell me I matter," she said. The room felt small. The storm outside grew louder, and for the first time, the fear of losing her became stronger than the fear of speaking. I stepped closer. "You matter," I said. She shook her head. "Not like that." My chest tightened. This was the moment. The moment I had avoided for months. The moment my heart had rehearsed 1,000 times in silence. The thunder cracked across the sky, and in that flash of lightning, I saw clearly what I had been denying. If I stayed silent, I would lose her anyway. So what was I protecting? Pride? Fear? Cowardice? I took her hands. They were cold, but mine were shaking more. "I love you," I said. The words felt heavy and freeing at the same time. "I've loved you longer than I've allowed myself to admit. I was scared. I thought if I never said it, I'd never lose you, but I was wrong." Tears slipped down her cheeks. "I was waiting," she whispered. "For what?" "For your heart to finally speak my name." In that moment, something inside me broke open, not painfully, but honestly. All those quiet nights, all those unfinished sentences, all that silent love. It had always been her. She stepped into my arms, and this time there was no hesitation, no uncertainty. Outside, the storm slowly softened. Inside, my heart was louder than it had ever been. "I don't want safe," she said against my chest. "I want real." "Then stay," I replied. "Stay with me." She nodded. And just like that, the night that almost took her away became the night that gave her to me. Love doesn't always begin when you meet someone. Sometimes it begins the night your heart finally gathers the courage to speak. And that night, in the middle of thunder and fear and trembling hands, my heart finally said her name, Alina, and she answered. The night I confessed should have been the end of fear, but love, once spoken, does not become simple. It becomes real. After that stormy night, everything felt brighter, lighter, as if the world had quietly approved of us. Alina smiled more. She held my hand without hesitation. She said my name the way people say a prayer softly, but with meaning. But reality was still waiting. Her father's decision had not changed. The engagement meeting was still scheduled. And now, love was no longer a secret between us. It was a choice that demanded courage. 2 days later, she called me. "They want an answer tonight," she said. Her voice was steady, but I could hear the pressure behind it. "Do you regret it?" I asked carefully. "Regret what?" "Us." There was a pause. Then she said, "The only thing I regret is that we waited so long." Her words gave me strength, but strength does not erase fear. That evening, she asked me to meet her outside her house. The streetlights flickered above us. Cars passed, unaware that someone's future was being decided on that quiet pavement. I told my mother about you, she said. And she asked me one question. My heart pounded. What question? Does he love you enough to stand in front of this house and say it? The air felt heavy. I told her yes, Alina whispered, but I need to know I wasn't lying. In that moment, I understood something important. Love is not proven in poetry. It is proven in presence. I looked at her house, the lights on, shadows moving inside. Her family, their expectations, their plans. Then I looked at her. The woman who waited for my heart to speak. I'm not afraid anymore, I said, and before my courage could fade, I walked toward the gate. Inside, the atmosphere was tense. Her father sat upright, serious and silent. Her mother watched carefully. Alina stood beside me, but I could feel her nervousness. I love your daughter, I said clearly. No trembling, no hesitation. Silence followed. Her father studied me. Love, he said slowly, is easy to say. I know, I replied, but I'm not here because it's easy. The room felt smaller. I'm here because I almost lost her once to my own silence. I won't lose her again to fear. Alina's fingers tightened around mine. Her father leaned back. You are not what we planned, he said. I understand, I answered, but sometimes life doesn't follow plans. Minutes passed like hours. Finally, her mother spoke. Does she choose you? She asked softly. Her father looked at her, then at Alina. Do you? He asked. Alina stepped forward. Yes. No hesitation. No doubt. Yes, I choose him. The simplicity of her voice carried more power than any argument I could make. Her father exhaled slowly. You both are choosing a difficult path, he said. Love is not only feeling, it is responsibility. I'm ready, I said. And I'm not leaving, Alina added. Something shifted in the room. Not complete approval. But not rejection either. Give us time, her father finally said. It wasn't a blessing, but it wasn't a goodbye. And sometimes that is enough. Later that night, we stood outside again. The sky was calm, no storm, no thunder. Just quiet stars watching us. You were brave, she said. So were you. She smiled. I told you my heart was waiting, she whispered. And now? I asked. Now it's not waiting anymore. I pulled her closer. For the first time, our love wasn't hiding in late-night confessions or rain-soaked promises. It had stepped into the light. And even though the future was still uncertain, one thing was clear. The night my heart finally spoke, her name was not the end of our story. It was the beginning of a love strong enough to be heard. The weeks that followed were a test, not of our love, but of our determination. Every day brought new challenges, questions, doubts, opinions from friends, relatives, and strangers who thought they knew better than our hearts. But Alina and I had learned something vital. When love is real, silence is the enemy, and courage is the only ally. Her father was cautious. He allowed conversations, but with restraint. Every meeting felt like walking on a tightrope. One wrong step, and the fragile trust we were building could shatter. Alina stood beside me through it all, her hand in mine, her quiet strength guiding me. I learned to speak my love in actions as well as words. Not grand gestures, small, steady ones. A cup of tea in the morning, a hand held when tension rose, a quiet smile across the room that said, I am with you. Her mother, once skeptical, began to soften. She noticed how I listened, how I respected Alina's choices, how I refused to let fear dictate my actions. Slowly, brick by brick, the walls around her family's expectations began to crumble. One evening, after dinner at their house, Alina whispered to me as we walked to the balcony, Do you think they'll ever truly accept us? I took her hand and held it tight. Acceptance is a journey, I said. But love is already here. That's what matters. The city lights below twinkled like scattered promises. I'm tired of waiting for the world to give permission, she said softly. Then let's stop waiting, I replied. Her eyes searched mine. You mean it? Every word, I said. For the first time, she smiled without fear or hesitation. Life continued to throw obstacles, but we faced them side by side. Rumors, expectations, unspoken rules. We ignored the whispers. We ignored the doubts. We spoke only the truth, that we chose each other every single day. And the love that had started as a quiet heartbeat in a crowded room grew louder, stronger, unshakable. One night, standing on the balcony again, she rested her head on my shoulder. "I never believed love could feel like this," she murmured. I kissed her forehead gently. "Neither did I admitted. "But I finally understand. Love isn't about waiting for the perfect moment. It's about creating it, together." Above us, the stars witnessed our silent promise. And though the world outside could try to test us, threaten us, or pull us apart, one truth remained. When the heart thin,